If running a cocoa estate is more and more a thing of the past, so is the French language. In the 19th century, French was the dominant language of the social classes in Trinidad. The daily newspaper was published in French as well as in English, and services at the downtown church of the Holy Rosary were held in French. Children of wealthy planters went to France for higher education, and the two main schools in the island, St. Mary's and St. Joseph's, were French. Anthony Trollope, the British writer, didn't know quite what to make of this. He wrote in 1859,
"As Trinidad is an English colony, one's first idea is that the people speak English, and one's second idea, when that other one, as to the English, has fallen to the ground, is that they should speak Spanish, seeing that the name of the place is Spanish. But the fact is that they all speak French."
And up to not so long ago, some households maintained their Frenchness quite well. Your grandmother was from Martinique.
She was, yeah. Yeah, she married my grandfather, I think, when she was very young. Mm-hmm. And they kept very close contact with Martinique. In fact, my father and his siblings were educated in Martinique. The Frenchness of the house was all around you. The books were French. There was Paris Match there. I remember vividly to being fascinated that the French novels, you had a paper knife to slit the pages because for some reason they weren't cut, you know. So when you were reading, you'd sit with this knife and go zoop, so you could turn
as you
the
turn
page.
the page, yes, yeah.
I remember that well. But Papa Jean on the estate spoke Hindi. I mean, I could hear him speaking Hindi with the people in the barracks because most of the estate workers lived in the barracks attached to the estate itself. Uh-huh. Even though there was the Hindi aspect, I mean, nearly everything was French.
But more and more it became a challenge to keep French alive. The two Degan sisters, Madeleine and Antoinette, remember well their grandmother's attempts.
Well, to begin with, they only spoke French to each other.
Both of them?
Yes, to each other, and expected us all to speak French too, which we never did. I remember my grandmother would come and give me a long message for my mother. Go and tell your mother whatever it is, so and so, all in French. And I understood it all right, so I'd go and tell my mother, Grandma is going to church tomorrow morning, the 7 o'clock mass, would you like to go? And she'd tell me, yes, she'd love to go. And so I'd go back and tell Grandma this. I speak to her in English, and I told her, Mommy, you'd be very glad, and she'd come in and get ready to go with you. And she said, she put her fingers like this, and she said, Papa, let us say, je ne comprends pas. In other words, she didn't understand what I was saying, so I must say it in French. Yeah. So I tried to struggle through, you know. We never took it up. It's a shame because our 4 grandparents spoke nothing but French to each other and to us. But then most of the Degans were educated in England. They all went away.
Daddy never spoke French to us, I don't think.
No, he couldn't.
They spoke to each other.
My parents?
Yeah. When they didn't want us to know what was going on.
Yes, Goldie used to say, I know when I'm going to have a dose of casserole because they speak French to each other.
And back at the cocoa estate, in the days before telephones, you got your messages in French. And what about getting news from town, from say somebody needed to send you a message or something?
The police station had a telephone. Uh-huh. And the police took the message. God, remember the name of the man. And they had this old patois, he spoke patois, the man.
Yes.
And they would give him a note. Supposing the note was coming here, he would start shouting from the bottom of the hill, Madame, Madame, mauvais nouvelle, mauvais nouvelle. They said we didn't have a clue.
He was a pessimist.
Yeah.
He was always
and
mauvais
nouvelle. That's how we got our news.
Yes, oh,
no
lovely.
telephone, no nothing.
Yeah.
And that is how, by the little notes.
Yes.
From the police station.
Oh, great. They spoke French to the estate workers, and out of this came patois, once widely spoken, now heard only in isolated pockets of the island, like Paramin, high up in the hills above Port of Spain. This is the house of Mr. Romany, who's talking with his son and with his friend, Mr. Joseph.
Kick même, je voulais connaître côté où fait. Vous faites ici là. Ouais.
Mon fait ici, l'école moi ici comme Maval. Papa mon fait ici, l'école Maval. Maman fait ici, nous tous fait ici Trinidad. Oui.
Il connaît, moi dis, il connaît grand-papa, sorti en France. Il voulait connaître, sous peut-être connaître lui bien.
Oui, moi je connais lui, c'était Philippe Romani. Papa m'a fait en Amérique, la côte. Et puis venu Trinidad.
It's hard to get young people to learn patois.
Si les moulins
Mon
parlent pas
papa voulait apprendre.
les moulins parlent pas pour dire oui.
Il va apprendre à parler patois, because il ne peut pas connaître ça qui patois. You see what I'm trying to tell him? He want to learn to speak patois. But, you see, so he will never learn. His children grow up with their grandmother, with his mother, and some of them mightn't speak patois for you, but there is nothing you will tell them in patois and they can understand. They know it because the grandmother teach them. And you see now it's easy for a child to learn to speak patois. Take for instance, like this is rice here now. I will tell him now, I'll say, excuse me. I will tell him now, I'll say, I'll call him, he know what is that, but I know it's rice. I'll tell him, garçon, pondi ouya là ba moi. He might watch at me. Pondi ouya là ba moi, so I'm showing him, so he know definitely. That is what I tell him. When he open it, he'll see his rice. So he should know next time when I tell him, Pondi ouya ba moi, he should know definitely his rice I'm speaking about. So it's not something that hard to learn, you know. It's not something, patois is something very easy. The hardest language having the world is English, you know.
That's true.
Yes. The hardest word is English, but patois is not something hard. But you see now the children and them now, they find that patois here is broken language now. They don't want to speak that. But it die now. The people from abroad come in here now. And that is what they come into here now, and they're hearing it.
Port of Spain is easy to get to now by jeep, and with increasing assimilation comes an ease with English that makes patois the language of old people. It's a special event for parishioners in Paramin to have their mass said in patois by a visiting priest from St. Lucia on the Sunday before Carnival.
Bonjour mes frères et sœurs. Moi, je vais dire encore qu'on voyage à faire bienvenue pour tout le monde qui est ici là au matin. Mais moi, je vais dire encore bienvenue pour toutes gens, espérons qu'ils soient sortis dehors par eux. Il semble moi que la célébration de la Salah est bien populaire en Trinidad actuellement. Parce que Jean Trinidad vraiment voulait entrer encore dans